Hello and welcome back to my channel. I currently have 50 unread books on my shelves and I feel like that's a lot better. We did start at like over 100, but then I did a huge book unhaul and now we are here at 50 books on my shelves. I figured a fun and kind of interesting way to kind of, I guess, push myself out of my comfort zone is by having TBR book prompts. Kind of like a scavenger hunt almost, so I am like nervous. What if I get something that I absolutely do not want? Like even some of them in here are like read a book that's like out of your comfort zone or read a book that you think you'll hate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? So let's pick. I'm not looking. This one right here. This should not be as like nerve-wracking as it is. Okay, it's tiny. What? Wait, okay, sorry. It says read a book with a person on the cover, and I think, hold on. Okay guys, we might just be able to read the book that I actually really want to read, and that book is Carl's Doomsday Scenario, which is book 2 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. But if you're wondering, where's the person on the cover? Right there! That counts, right? That's a person on the cover. I swear that counts. I haven't read any of these books, and they're all romance books, and they all have people on the cover. But like, if these count as people on the cover, then I think like Carl's Doomsday Scenario should count as having a person on the cover, because that's my boy Carl right there. But essentially, this book is kind of crazy. It's like all over the place, but I love it. The world is taken over by aliens. All the remaining like human survivors, I think there's only like 4 million. They are all sent to a dungeon to try and fight for their life and survive, except it's like a reality TV show type thing. So think like the Hunger Games mixed with Big Brother, mixed with maybe even Love Island, mixed with, oh yeah, like Minecraft and video games, because that's the crazy part about this. The dungeon they are sent to, it's like a system that the alien universe galaxy people built, and so basically they're like able to level up as they fight more mobs. There's NPCs, there's safe rooms, there's like boundaries and quests they must fulfill. In the dungeon, there's 18 levels to the dungeon, and in this book we are starting on floor 3 of the dungeon. But I'm glad this first book draw went to my liking, but I am nervous for the next books that we draw, because I have no clue what I want to read after this, so I guess, you know, we'll be in for the journey. It is the next day, or I guess the next night, but I am on page 200 exactly of the book, chapter 17, and that's pretty good because my goal has been to like read 100 pages each day, and I did that for 2 days in a row. But it is currently, oh my gosh, it's even later than I thought it was. It's almost 11 p.m. So yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna get done tonight, but I would like to read at least like 50 pages. I feel like that's the hopeful goal, but we'll see. So far, my thoughts on the book. It's like so fast-paced, but also so slow at the same time. So in the first book, we only got through the first 2 floors, and in this one, we're over halfway through the book, and they're not even halfway done with floor 3, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then also, there's always like quest happening, or like they're trying to build their skills, or they're like, you know, finding more information from like people. So like, of course that takes up a lot of like time, but I don't know, like I think my attention span is somehow too short for this book. But yeah, I don't know, I guess we're just going through the training arc right now again. I can't tell if I'm liking it more than the first book, but I do know that I'm not liking it any less than the first book, which is good. But yeah, I guess, you know, we still have almost 200 pages left, so lots can change, lots more can happen, so let's get reading. Okay, welcome back. It is the next day officially. My goal of reading 50 pages was a complete failure. I barely even made it to 30 pages. I was just like, I like kept falling asleep as I was reading. It was horrible. So yeah, we are not as through the book as I would like to be, but I am officially on page 234, chapter 19, so I honestly don't feel like I have that much left. And today is Saturday, so it is always possible that I could just knock it out today, but also I do have other stuff I want to do. But yeah, I'm about to read just a little bit now, and then I have plans with a friend to like go to Target and get coffee and stuff, so like dream date. But because of that, I don't know how long I'm gonna be like out of the house or busy for, so I guess let's read a little bit now to, you know, start our day off right, I guess. Chapter 24, only this many pages left, and I can sense we are nearing the climax of the book, so I guess let's try to knock this out with the remaining time we have today. But it's officially now 9:30, so I should be able to finish it, but it's also kind of like a motivation thing. It's like, I definitely could read it, but do I want to, is the question. Oh shoot, and he's gonna get, I see. Oh shoot, the drama, oh dang, yikes, okay. Bro, why? Ugh. Don't be naked. I did it. I finished the book. Wow. I was actually gonna say, like, as part of my review, that I don't think I was gonna like continue the series, or at least it wouldn't be like on my radar right now. But like, the ending of books always gets me. Like, I'm such like, I don't know, I'm so easily like swayed, and if like one good or interesting thing happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to keep reading. And like in this book in particular and the first one, even though like the main part of it is that we're following Carl and Princess Donut as they're like in this alien run dungeon game show, there's also a lot more like politics behind the scenes. And I think that's probably one of the part of this book I like the most, but it's also like been shown the least out of these first two books. But I think like obviously as the series continues, we're gonna get more of those like politics of the universe. So I actually kind of want to continue the series now, but I would probably rate this book maybe like 3.5 or 4, because like it was good, right? But nothing was like urging me to keep reading. I really want to see this book as like a TV show though. I do find myself having like a difficult time kind of visualizing all like the elements in this book, just because it's so creative and unique, and there's so many like, it's just constantly changing and chaotic and crazy and all over the place, but like in a really good way. I am glad I was able to read it and that the TBR prompt like let me. Hold on, I don't even have the cover here. You can't even see. Alright, so here is the book cover. If you remember, the prompt was choose a cover that has a person on it. And if you look right here, that is my boy Carl. That is definitely a person. So that's what allowed me to read this book, and I am glad I read it. So now my TBR is down from 50 books to 49. But now we also get to choose the next TBR prompt, and I'm a little nervous because I did definitely want to read this book, but now that I've read it, I'm unsure of like what books I'm wanting to read right now, so I guess we'll see what we draw and then decide from there, obviously. Now we get to choose the next prompt. Give it a nice good stir. Okay, now I get to pick. This is so fun. Alright, I'm gonna be picking this one right here. Oh, it's two. Okay, this one. Okay, can you read what it says? What does it say? What does it say? Is it upside down? I don't know. What does it say? Read a book with a morally gray character. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do some digging to find a book with a morally gray character. I mean, first thing that's coming to my mind is like fantasy books with like kind of questionable morality from our main character, but I don't know. What could that be? Okay, let's look at my shelves. Morally gray, morally gray. Is there anything morally gray over here? Well, Vicious, definitely a bunch of morally great characters in that, but unfortunately I already read it. What books have I not read over here? I have not read these romance books, but I doubt they have morally great characters. I have not read this book, Children of Time. Could that possibly... Morally gray, Catabasis, not read this. Not read The Bladed Faith. Actually, wait, let's go back here. Tender is the Flesh, I've not read this, but I'm questioning, is this main character morally gray or just straight up evil? Let's keep that in mind, okay? I'm just gonna pull it out and place it over here. Dang, what have I not read? Why can't I see any books? Okay, next bookshelf. Anything over here? Man, I don't know if there's any books that really fit that description over here that I haven't read. You know, I always say I have like 50 books for my physical TBR, but then when I'm actually trying to find them, there's suddenly no books. I don't know how that works. Okay, I'm gonna search this up and we're gonna try to find an answer. Without spoilers, does Tender is the Flesh have a morally gray main character? Yes, Tender is the Flesh features a deeply morally gray main character. Okay, so the protagonist Marcos is a high-level employee in the human meat industry. While he is initially presented as more empathetic, melancholic, and detached than the outright sadistic characters around him, he is fully complicit in the system of human cannibalism. So he enables the industry while separating himself from the extreme cruelty, which allows readers to sympathize with him despite his actions. Wait, could this actually be perfect? I thought the main character in this was a girl though. Okay, this actually might be perfect. Those of you who have read this book, because it is a hugely popular book, are probably screaming at me the answer to this question, but I think we found a morally gray main character and a book I'm actually interested in. Like, that description right there sounded really, really cool. So like human cannibalism and the human meat market? Very, very interesting. So I'm glad we got this prompt of reading a book with a morally gray main character. I think this is actually gonna be fire. I'm super excited. So without further ado, so now that we've chosen the book, I can begin reading. However, it is 10 p.m. now, and I doubt I'm gonna read anything today, and then also tomorrow, there's no way I'm reading anything at all tomorrow. So I'll probably get back to you in like 2 days with some thoughts about this book. It's not necessarily a long book. Here we are to give updates about Tinder is the Flesh. I'm not gonna lie, it's been over a week since I finished Carl's Doomsday Scenario, and I just started this book yesterday, so it did take me kind of a second to get to it, but now that I'm in, like, I am locked in. Oh my gosh, I started this yesterday. I was just like, you know what, I probably should read it. And then immediately I began like annotating the book, which is crazy because I don't really do that often, but I feel like I just am loving the way this book is written. It's because, so like, if you don't know, I think I kind of explained, honestly I forgot what I explained about this book and what I didn't, but there was a virus that made every single type of animal meat inedible to humans, so now all the animals are wiped out from the world and there's only human flesh to get protein from, and so there's a huge industry of like human meat, and our main character works in that industry, and he's actually like the boss's right-hand man. And then obviously this book is supposed to be a book with a morally gray main character, and I noticed that like from page 1. In fact, I was trying to find, I feel like, the most adequate sentence or like paragraph that describes or shows how he is morally gray, and I feel like I did find that on page 12. There's this really good line, and I'm gonna read it to you, and I feel like it encapsulates perfectly his experience with the human meat market. And it states, "He knows he doesn't have to say anything to this man, just agree, but there are words that strike at his brain, accumulate, cause damage. He wishes he could say atrocity, inclemency, excess, sadism to Senor Arami. He wishes these words could rip open the man's smile, perforate the regulated silence, compress the air until it chokes both of them. But he remains silent and smiles." And I feel like that's perfect because we are obviously in this dude's head, okay? And we are witnessing how much he hates the industry. He genuinely hates his life, and he thinks it's sick and twisted, but at the same time, he's complicit in the system. I mean, if he wasn't, if he did try to like call somebody out or say that the heads were humans instead of their newly sanctioned term, he would get eaten just like the rest of them. And so it just really makes you think about what you would do in that scenario, because obviously we love to say like, oh yeah, I would never let that happen, but then like in reality, what else could you do other than kind of let it happen? Like, he's in a good place, he makes good money, he's able to take care of his dad and his wife and, you know, survive in this new, harsh, cruel world. And that comes at the cost of, I guess, his morality. Obviously, in his head, he's having these battles against himself, but he doesn't do anything about it. But I just am loving the way this is written so much, because we get into so much detail about, like, how exactly our main character views the system as wrong, yet whenever it actually, there's also still so much detail about the human meat market. Like, there's so many scenes that we've been through that explain almost excessively all the steps it takes to like prepare a human body for consumption, and it kind of just makes you sick, but also at the same time you can't really look away. Yeah, like, I don't know where this book is gonna go. It's not very long, it's only 200 pages, and I am on page 73, so I'm almost halfway through. I think that's my goal for tonight, but like, I genuinely have no clue where this book could go. There was something interesting that happened in the plot maybe a few chapters ago, and I'm interested to see how that like develops and plays out. Is it gonna lead to some like ultimate climax where he breaks the chains of the system? I mean, I really doubt it. I don't think that's what this book is meant to be, but it will be interesting to, you know, get through it. I just reached chapter 6 of part 2, so I'm on page 151. So I'm getting pretty close to the end of the book. I have 49 pages left, and this book is becoming more and more disturbing. But at the same time, it's becoming like irresistible, I guess, just because I'm so like horrified that I'm also like enraptured. And so I just keep on like underlining things and writing some comments. Like, I've started to write in the book just so I could like gather my thoughts as I'm reading so I can share it with you. So I'm gonna start, I think the turning point kind of was right at the last chapter before part 2 of the book, and I'm gonna read you this quote because I feel like it perfectly encapsulates the whole rest of the book, at least so far. And it says, "What he wants to do is prohibited, but he does it anyway." And that is just perfect because I feel like, I don't know, like in the beginning I felt he was morally gray in a different way than he is now, and I feel like at where I am in the book, I feel like he's becoming more and more irredeemable, and I guess it's kind of because the system he's fighting against is kind of like transforming him into this primate-like version of himself. He's just becoming like less relatable. Well, okay, that's kind of hard to say, right? Like in the beginning of the book, I could understand him. I was like, okay, I understand he's not a good person. He contributes to the system. He doesn't stop it. And that's kind of really important, like a vital aspect in upholding a system such as this. But then again, he was like disagreeing, and I was like, okay, I feel like if I was in his position, I would probably do the same thing, right? Like I want to survive. But now his morality is getting cloudier in different areas, such as like consent and decency and like human rights, and I'm like, wow. And I want to read you some quotes that I feel like kind of show that. So for example, in the beginning, I thought because he was against eating human meat, he would treat the heads, which are the people who are killed and eaten, with more like decency and kind of see them as humans. Because if you've never read this book, the transformation, as they call it, it's not even like it was a pre-existing thing before his lifetime that he was just born into. It happened very, very recently to the start of this book. He grew up in a society that ate animal meat. This transformation happened extremely quickly, so I thought he would still view the heads with like people, you know, because they are people. And I want to read you this quote. I don't really think it's a spoiler, but I'm gonna shorten it because I feel like the whole paragraph is. Essentially, it states, "At times, it seems she's thinking like she really can." And that kind of took me off guard. He's referring to one of the heads, right? And it seems as if she's thinking as if she really can. Well, yeah, she can, actually. I guess the morally gray aspect of this is that he's recognizing her humanity, but it still is like participating in the system that like denies it, right? But I don't know, guys, it's so much more complex than that. I really wish I could like go fully in depth, but I don't know what is a spoiler. But yeah, I feel like maybe the author kind of was leading readers to believe he was a different person than he actually is, the main character, which I found out his name was Marcos, by the way. But yeah, kind of leading readers to believe he was like less monstrous and more human, like the humans we know today, so that we would kind of like lower our guard. But then in this half of the book, it's like a complete 180 occurred. It's kind of like I'm being forced to realize that being less like openly cruel than the others in the system does not necessarily make him morally good as a person. And yeah, guys, this is getting good. And then another, I know I'm talking for forever, but I have one more thing to say. One more quote to read. This one isn't regarding like the heads at all, but I think it does kind of encapsulate the book as a whole and poses a really good like question. The quote states, "Does this pose a moral dilemma for you? Do you find it atrocious?" he asked. "Not at all. The human being is complex, and I find the vital acts, contradictions, and sublimities characteristic of our condition astonishing. Our existence would be an exasperating shade of gray if we were all flawless. But then why do you consider it atrocious? Because it is. But that's what's incredible, that we accept our excesses, that we normalize them, that we embrace our primitive essence." And I feel like in this, the book is kind of like seeming to question whether society is like truly sophisticated to start with, or if it just finds like sophisticated ways to justify brutality. And like I am just enjoying dissecting this book so much, and I'm really excited to continue. My goal is to finish it today. I mean, I only have 50 pages left. I apologize for once again yapping so much, but I hope I'm encouraging you to read this book with a kind of like analytical lens, because I find it really like fun, but also horrible. Like it low-key makes me sick. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading, and I'll update you if I have any more thoughts. that ending, man. I feel like the ending was a little anticlimactic, but I actually think it was also kind of good. Like, I didn't even think about that being a possibility as an ending, but I actually kind of liked it, actually, the more I think about it. But I feel like it also ended so abruptly. Like, honestly, I wish this book's like 200 pages, right? I wish it was longer. Like, I want to know more. Because, like, obviously, well, maybe not. Okay, so I'm just thinking about scenarios in my head for what could have possibly happened after the ending of this book. And I'm like, would that have happened? Would this have happened? So, I don't know. I really want to check the ratings on Goodreads now to see what everyone else thought. I think currently my rating for this book would probably be, man, I don't know, this is a complicated one because it doesn't, like, I'm hesitant to give it a 5-star, but I don't know for what reason. Let me think and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back with my final thoughts. I know I've already given a lot of my thoughts about this book, but I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and give it a 4-star. I see a lot of people just talking about how brutal this book was and how disgusting it is, and that they think like the brutality of it is just like the author just wrote it, the brutality to be brutal or whatever. But honestly, I didn't see it that way. Like, yeah, I do think this book is very like disturbing and disgusting and kind of made me sick at some points, but I think that's honestly part of the beauty of this book and why it makes it such a compelling yet horrifying yet intriguing read, because people have just come to accept this so readily, and it's such a shock to how we live, yet it's so close to being an actual thing in our own world. So I genuinely really liked it. I'm still gonna give it a 4 stars. I won't talk about this book anymore because I know I have been rambling on about it for a long time now, but I honestly recommend this if you are able to read such sensitive subject matter. With this book done, I successfully read a book with a morally gray main character. After reading this book, saying that like phrase, kind of like, morally gray or evil? But now with this book done, it's officially time to pick the last prompt from my TBR jar, and I'm a little nervous, guys. Here she is in all her beauty. Alright, let's just get straight to it. No point in dilly-dallying. Mix it around, mix it around. Am I even mixing it, bro? I don't know. Alright, I think I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, let's see. As of always, you get to read it first. Is it upside down? Oh wow. Let someone else choose my read. What? A friend up in here to go through my bookshelves? Dang it. I was hoping to choose a book tonight. Or maybe I'll just like send some pictures of books. I guess we can do that. I'll get some of my like TBR books and we'll just send them. That means I do get to manipulate this just a little bit. So what books should I choose? Let's see here. Any on this shelf? Haven't read Looking for Alaska. I guess we can offer that one. Anyone else? No. Any books I haven't read here? Okay. So I do have 3 romance books I've not read. Let's choose one of them. I guess let's choose, because I know this is a series, so I guess I should probably pick this one, but I honestly don't want to read that one, but I guess, you know what? I guess I'll do it. Ooh, which one should I choose from those two? Anyone I touch a check about, so my mind says the very best one is on it. This one? Okay, that's fine. Another romance book, dang it, okay. Not read this one, but this one's really huge. Not read this one either. Lots of romance books, guys. This might not be good. Not read this one. We'll include this one too. Alright, so these are all the books we've chosen from to send to one of my friends. I feel like we have a really good mix here. We got lots of fantasy, some literary fiction, some romance, which pretty good. I tried not to be too biased picking these. There are some I definitely don't want to read. I'm actually going to text 2 of my friends because depending on their answer, I kind of want to choose between which of the 2. I know it's kind of cheating, but guys, let me have it. Okay, what should I say? Based on this picture, comma, can you pick a book for me to read next? Man, I just know, I feel like this friend's gonna say romance book. This friend might be asleep, so we don't know if she'll get this. And I'm back. Low-key, this lighting makes me kind of look dead, but just ignore that. Both of the people I asked responded now, but they did respond with two differing answers, and their choices were Part of Your World and Station 11, which I'm not even gonna lie, these are probably like the two books I was like least wanting to read, but you know what? Maybe this is the universe telling me that like one of these books, whichever one I choose, is going to be like the best book I've ever read in my life, you know? And so, Landry, if you're watching this video, I apologize, man. You chose this book, but you also technically chose this book too, so I really don't want to read this. I think I'm gonna go with Station 11. Honestly, I've read this like synopsis so many times and I don't understand what it means at all. Yeah, guys, I'm not picking up what this book is putting down so far, but obviously I've not even started it, so. But what I do think is kind of cool is this freaking art in here. I didn't even see this. I don't know how. It's so pretty. I love it. And it says, "What would you miss?" Which actually makes me really intrigued because it's like civilization is of course like wiped out. And so it seems like it might be like a commentary on like what you would miss, if society just ended tomorrow, which seems kind of cool. So I hope I like it. I just got to chapter 30, page 176, and honestly, I can't believe I'm already halfway through. I started the book yesterday, which is pretty good, and I haven't read much today, but I think because I'm already halfway through, I want my goal to be finished with it by tomorrow, so we'll see if that's possible, but I think just we're trying to get through this book quickly because Tender is the Flesh took me like so long to read. But let me actually, now that I am halfway through, I can finally like explain to you what the book's about. So Station 11 is about a post-apocalyptic world that was taken out by what is known as the Georgia flu. It's like the worst strain of flu that has ever been created. Like, it is inescapable. If you get it, you are assured certain death. It's transferable by just like simply being in the presence of another person that has it, and it's now wiped out like 99.9% of the human population and just like completely destroyed civilization, life, society as you know it. However, we begin the book before the flu takes over. We're in the perspective of this man named Jivan as he's watching a production of King Lear when suddenly the main star, Arthur Leander, like dies of a heart attack on stage, and then that same night the flu takes over the world. And so now we are like in a past and present timeline. The present timeline is 20 years since the night the Georgia flu took over, and we are in the perspective of, what's her name? It's like Kristen something, who was 8 years old when the flu first came around and is now 28, but she is a part of what's known as the traveling symphony, which travels from like populated place to populated place, which is few and far between, to like give shaky renditions of like Shakespeare. And this is like extremely valuable but also rare in a world that's been like completely wiped out. Like, there's nothing anymore. Like, the arts especially are very just like non-existent. Then in the past timeline, we are following various different characters, but those include like Arthur Leander, the actor that died on stage, his first wife Miranda, what's her last name, like Miranda Carroll, and then like various other characters. And this past narrative honestly reminds me of like a Taylor Jenkins Reid narrative where we're following like the dramatic and star-studded life of Arthur and Miranda, but these two timelines are tied together by like a seemingly inconsequential conversation between Arthur and Kristen that occurred before like the flu took over. And in this conversation, Arthur gave Kristen a graphic novel called Station 11, and coincidentally that graphic novel had been like a passion project of Miranda, Arthur's first wife, and throughout the book so far we've been seeing her like write it. And so now we're kind of seeing, as the book progresses, we're seeing how more things like connect. Honestly, when I first started the book, I was really confused by like how everything connected. I was really confused about like why these characters like matter, why like the dichotomy of like the past and present timeline, it seemed so like separate to me. And then honestly, her writing style kind of confused me because I think it's like her writing style, like it kind of like jumps from place to place in a seemingly like random order of events. But then as like more time progresses throughout the book and you get like further in, like halfway, more secrets and connections between characters are revealed. So then everything kind of like starts to click into place. So now that I am like halfway through and things are finally starting to connect, I am really enjoying it. However, a new kind of like, I guess, subplot, I don't actually, I think it's like a main plot, just popped up about a man in the present timeline who declares himself to be a prophet, which is gonna cause like, is causing like rising tensions among the remaining population. And honestly, I am a little bit confused. I'm like, okay, so like what's happening? But I do have faith that now that I understand how the author writes, I have faith that like the ending is gonna be very rewarding. But yeah, honestly, this book does remind me of like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but that is a very good thing. I really like all of her books, so I think this book could definitely be like potentially very highly rated. I just hope it continues to like be this good, but like honestly, I'm pretty excited to read it because like when things finally do connect, it's kind of like an adrenaline rush. You're like, oh my gosh, what? And I feel like there's so many like little things here and there that I'm like, I feel like that has some kind of importance, or like, what does that mean though? And like I just want to keep reading to find out. But yeah, that is my halfway update. I'll try to update you at least one more time before I finish the book. But yeah, pretty good so far. I'm gonna get back to reading. I meant to update you much sooner, obviously, but now I have 30 pages left of the book. It is 11 p.m. at night and I'm going to try and finish it right now because it is so good. Like when I like start reading it, I just can't stop. Like I'm actually obsessed. I don't know why. It's kind of reminding me of like Piranesi. That's Piranesi, right? I don't know. But yeah, I am very tired, but I'm also like desperate to finish the book. Like I need to know what happens. Like how is this gonna end? I have no clue, but I guess we'll see. Hope it's not like sad or anything. OMG, final part of the book, I presume. Part 9, Station 11. Chapter 53. Bro, this book! Oh my gosh. So it is the next day again. Unfortunately, I got like 20, maybe even less pages out from finishing this book, and then I was genuinely falling asleep. I could not do it. So I just finished it, and you're gonna be so surprised, but honestly, I'm giving this book a 5-star. Like this is the most shocking read of the year so far because I just did not want to read this at all. Like I don't know what it is like about this writing style. There's just certain books that I find reading them to be so comforting no matter what like material is being discussed. Like it could be the most gruesome or sad of things, and I just find the way it's written so like I guess captivating, even if it's like technically not a boring story, but it's not meant to be anything like extravagant, right? Like I feel like this book is more kind of a character study almost. Like obviously it's set in the backdrop of a post-apocalyptic world, but I feel like we kind of very briefly discuss that, and we're more so just following how these characters are navigating it and how their experience before the pandemic affected the way they were able to adjust to life afterwards, and how their different experiences helped them, and just how like I said before, how everything like just was able to connect so well. Even though like we were like bouncing around back and forth at the start, it just suddenly like began to make sense. And just because of that, like the further you went into the book, the further like connected you felt to every single one of these characters, the more invested you were in like finding out what happens next. And honestly, I could use like 3 more of these books. But yeah, like I'm so surprised I love this book so much, because if you recall, these are the 3 books we read in today's video. And the very first one, Carl's Doomsday Scenario, was probably the book I was like looking forward to reading the most. The other 2 were complete shocks, but like no matter what prompt I drew from the jar, I was gonna try to make it fit this book. And honestly, this is the one I liked the least. I think I've changed my rating from a 3.5 to just a solid 3 stars, because it's been like a while since I read this now, and I just have not thought about it since. I'm probably not gonna continue the series. It's just like okay, and I haven't really thought about it at all, which is really unfortunate, because like I really thought this was gonna be my next Red Rising, but I guess it's not, guys. We're still searching. And then Tender is the Flesh, Morley Gray main character. This book I rated it 4 stars, but it's got me like started on a series down of reading like I guess books that are be most likely assigned in like schools that I haven't read somehow. So for example, I just got Fahrenheit 451 and 1984. So I read 3 books, added 2 more, whatever. Cause like I know I'm gonna read these, and it's all because Tender is the Flesh. So this one was also very good. And then of course Station 11, I feel like the most surprising book. Like I said, if my friend had not picked this for me, I promise you I would have not read it for a long time. So, and then this was a 5-star too. So I'm like, dang, like what other 5-star books are like hidden on my shelves? I really liked having the prompts, because they made me like search for a book, and like just searching for these and finding them already got me like more excited to start them, because it was like kind of like a reward in finding them and choosing them in the first place. So it kind of like started me on a good mindset for both of these books. And honestly, just like drawing a prompt and reading it and finding it is like adds another level of like fun to reading, on top of a hobby that's already super like immersive and fun to start with. So this was very successful in my opinion. I'm probably gonna do this a lot more, even like off camera, but you know, maybe if this does well, this video, I'll like make it a series. You know what, I'll probably make it a series anyways, because that's how much I liked it. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I hope you definitely read Station 11 and Tender's the Flesh, because they're bangers. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more awesome, epic, cool, super amazing, you know, fun content like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone!